question that people typically have. Is a creative entrepreneur the same thing as a traditional artist? In my opinion, no. Let's talk about that why. A traditional artist focuses more on the art side of things, whereas a creative entrepreneur has to focus more on the business side of things. So let's take a traditional author, for example. Typically, they're going to be working with a publisher, and a publisher handles a lot of the marketing aspects of what they do, and they can just focus on the work. Whereas a creative entrepreneur, you have to focus more on the business so that way you can actually have a business to run. But let's go over an artist definition real quick. An artist is a person engaged in a creative an activity related to creating art, practicing the arts, or demonstrating an art. I think pretty safe to say that, right? Now, an entrepreneur by definition is a person who organizes and operates a business or businesses, taking on greater than normal financial risk to do so. So we're starting to see a little bit of the differences and why those two can come together and overlap quite nicely. All right, so let me just admit this person in. So we have a lot to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lot to get into, okay? We have what I do as a full-time artist, going over myself and my background, how I created my brand KicksArt and exactly what that is, the traits to be a successful creative entrepreneur, 10 ways you can monetize your artwork, how I personally make money as an artist, becoming a creative entrepreneur, how do you even start, how to grow a YouTube channel, because let's face it, most of you guys want to be a YouTuber. I wanted to be a YouTuber once I realized being a YouTuber was an actual thing. So I get it. I'll give you the quick tips for that. The importance of branding, as well as kind of what branding is, because that has a huge role to play in all this as well. And finally, misspelling, how I stratted my sneaker art career, right? I had to change that afterward, but that's okay, right? So let's get into it. But first, introduction. So my name is Steve Camargo. I'm Colombian. I'm 26 years old plus tax. I'm just now learning there's tax and everything, so I'm preparing it for you guys as well. By the way, I believe this is 9th grade, right? If I'm not mistaken, this is 9th grade that we're doing here. Good, because
Yes,
you guys
sir.
are gonna like why, or you guys are gonna see why I like or I have an affinity for 9th graders, and we'll get into that in a quick second. Fun fact: I'm named after Steve Urkel. So I'm sure your teachers are familiar with who this fictional character is, but if you're not, this is a fictional character from a show that was very popular in the 90s called Family Matters. No, it's not this really old show. Okay, I was born in the 90s. Let's be nice. All right, let's be nice, guys. I live in Spring Hill, Florida. If you're familiar with Tampa Bay, for example, my small town of Spring Hill is about an hour north of Tampa Bay. Maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is something that you've heard of, the Super Bowl winning team from last year. Let's go, right? So my small town is supposedly known for this Weeki Wachee Springs State Park, this beautiful state park where you have all these slides that come down to the end of this beach area. We can go swimming and tanning, all that good stuff. And it also is the very end of the Weeki Wachee River, this incredible river. It's about 12 miles long. You can go kayaking, canoeing, tubing. There's all this incredible wildlife like manatees and less incredible wildlife like moccasins swimming about the river as well. It is amazing. However, if you're from my town, you know the truth. The truth is we're not really known for all this fancy stuff. In my professional opinion, we're really known for is this. Now, I don't know what this guy's story is, but as somebody who's lived in my town for 20 plus years, I believe this mysterious pink dinosaur to be the most interesting part of my town, which potentially means that my town isn't very interesting at all. So kind of funny how that works out right now. Let's go into the presentation. What do I do as a full-time sneaker artist? Let's start here. Let's set the foundation nice. I essentially have these two buckets that I have to carry around all day long. On one end, I have the business operations, and these are the boring things I have to do to actually keep the business afloat. On the other end, though, I have the art that I'm making. You can see how this already combines both ends of creative entrepreneurship right here. So I'm not going to go through all the business operations, but in some capacity, each one of these different things has to be done every single day for me to have a business. I do, however, want to touch on one of these in particular, and that's going to be reorganizing storage, which sounds kind of boring, but let's actually see how boring it is, right? So I'm going to video time. If you guys are on this app that's called TikTok, I'm not sure. Do you guys know TikTok? Yeah, you know TikTok. Okay. If you're on there, you can follow me at KicksArt. The name of this video is My Parents Let Me Remodel Half the Garage for My Business Storage. Essentially, I have so much stuff, it doesn't fit in my room, it doesn't fit in the living room, and now I got to put everything in the garage. Otherwise, we don't have room for it, right? So we have the floor that we redid. We also have this wall that is, well, I'm going to call it disgusting. We haven't painted it in like 30 years. All right. It's definitely disgusting. After I give that a nice fresh coat or two, I have to do research on the types of shelves that I want to buy. I have to actually go ahead and put them up and put my current supplies on the shelves. Oh, wait, now I'm starting to get more stuff in. So now those are going to have to go into the shelving units too, which I just set up. I'm also going to fill up a table so that way I can set orders in my garage. And this entire task, what I thought was a simple task, is like 7 tasks. What was supposed to take me 1 day ended up taking me 4. So it's kind of interesting. That's all the boring business operations end of what I have to do to run the business. Now let's actually talk about the art that I make, the creative stuff that I do. I split these up into 2 subcategories. On one end, we have the digital content. This is anything that you'll consume online. So that TikTok video is a great example of video content. On the other end, we have the products that I make and sell as well. So Starting with the video content, either on YouTube or TikTok, you can follow me at KicksArt. Made over 340 videos. Air horn for that. A lot of videos. I think it's safe to say I like making video content. I don't know, right? I also make sneaker coloring pages. This is actually the core of what I do with the brand. And guys, I've made over 500 of these different sneaker coloring pages from all the brands you guys know and love. Nike, Adidas, Jordan, Asics, Puma, Balenciaga, Reebok, Louis Vuitton, and Gucci. I'm constantly adding more to the website as often as I can, which granted is not that often nowadays because I'm so busy with everything else. Funny how that works out too. As we saw in the initial slide, I have sneaker coloring books. I currently have these 3 in my inventory. I have the Air Jordan, the Nike, and the Hypebeast. My goals are for this time next year is to have a total of 6 coloring books in my inventory. It takes about 2 months time for me to make a book, anywhere from 100 to 120-ish hours. This, of course, depends on the number of illustrations a book gets, as well as the complexity of those illustrations. And a quick major key alert.
Major key.
If you guys are note takers, by the way, I just want to let you know all the most successful people in the world are note takers. So do with that information what you will. Major key alert. If you want to self-publish your own book, you can for less than the cost of a Big Mac. So just write that down because we'll get into that more in a second. All right. So I also make sneaker posters as well. Now, as you can see, my style incorporates a lot of illustration, typography, graphic design elements. I'm also a bit of an anime weeb. So a lot of these posters have the dramatic anime borders going all around the edges and stuff. My favorite posters is Kobe 1 by far. Rest in peace. Now, most of the stuff that I do is sneakers. This is obviously not a sneaker. This is a basketball athlete, but most of the sneakers I draw are basketball sneakers. So there's some nice synergy there. And it was cool to be able to expand the range of what I do to branch out a little bit while trying out new things. And this also turned out a lot nicer than I thought. So I was pleasantly surprised when I was done with it. I also make sneaker stickers as well. So everything that I make, whether it be the free content I produce online or the products that I make to sell. So the free content being the coloring pages or the videos, and the products being the coloring books, the posters, or the stickers. Everything that I make all fits within this brand that I built called KicksArt. It's a sneaker art brand. So how I created my brand KicksArt. Let's actually talk about that. Let's go over that real quick, right? Story time. So in high school, when I was in 9th grade, when I was sitting in the metaphorical and literal seats that you're all sitting at right now, we had a class project where we had to design a sneaker. Before then, I never really drawn sneakers. I didn't like drawing people or figures. So if I'm not drawing people, I'm not drawing feet. If I'm not drawing feet, I'm not drawing shoes. You can see how that parallel would happen. We had a project that we had to design a sneaker and we had to explain how the sneaker was supposed to benefit an athlete of the sport that we chose. I didn't care about that whole portion of it. I only cared about the drawing part because I'm an artist. And my first time drawing a sneaker, I would fall in love with the process. I'd be obsessed. I draw sneakers every single day all throughout high school. Let's fast forward 4 years. By this point, I'm now more confident enough in my drawing abilities to post on Instagram for the first time. And at this point, this is 2013. Instagram is 3 years old. It's now become one of the biggest social media apps, which we still all use today, of course. And guys, there's something so fascinating about the social aspect of social media that I love. The fact that as an artist, I can show anybody my work and they can see it from all over the world. Okay, guys, just a little small thing that still blows my mind. You all know of YouTube, okay? YouTube did not exist until I went into 6th grade. I'm still upset about that. They couldn't figure it out a little bit earlier, but it was really helpful in 3rd grade. Okay, point is, okay, social media is incredible, and I got to see the evolution and the start of it as I was going into middle school and high school. I'm posting my drawings on Instagram. People are finding my work, and they're saying, hey, I like your style. Can you draw this shoe? Hey, I really like your work. Can you draw this shoe? Now I'm getting a little bit of a following, okay? People are finding my work, and they're liking my stuff. And by the way, they're giving me requests too. And do you think they're giving me a request to draw these boring, plain looking sneakers with no details?
Nope.
Absolutely not. They're saying, hey, can you draw these really interesting sneakers with a lot of different colors and textures? To which I was happy to do so. So now I'm leveling up, but I'm getting curious. And I said, okay, I'm improving, but there has to be other people out there that are better at drawing sneakers than me. Just, I think it's safe to say that. And maybe one of them has made a YouTube video. And I thought, okay, if I see one 5 or 10 minute YouTube video, I can learn a lot from them, or at the very least one thing. Their thought process, their technique, their style, their drawing. I don't know what it is, but inevitably I can find one thing about them that I can then add to my metaphorical toolkit and be a better artist. To my surprise, in 2014, when I'm searching for this, there's no sneaker drawing videos on YouTube. And I thought that was so interesting. And then I had an idea. I had an epiphany. And I said, okay, wait a minute. Why don't I be the person to make the first sneaker drawing YouTube channel? I have the resource to do so. By the way, all I needed was a cell phone, because the cell phone has this thing called a camera, and the camera could take the video recording of my, drawing. And by the way, I just want to point this out. Okay, quick little thing. The cameras that are in modern cell phones are better cameras than the ones that filmmakers had in the 90s to make the movies that we all know as classics. You know the dude who made Jurassic Park? You have a better camera than him and your phone. That's kind of crazy. I think, right? So whatever, right? Nobody believes me when I say that. So that's kind of cool. The point is I'm making sneaker drawing YouTube videos. In the description of my videos, I would have a link to the corresponding coloring page that people can download and print out for free. Here's why. Growing up when I was drawing sneakers every day in high school, I realized there was kind of two parts to it. Some people would for sure love and appreciate the tutorial aspect of seeing the plain sheet of paper go from nothing to a completed drawing. So that aspect is cool. Other people like myself really like the coloring aspect of drawing sneakers and sneaker art in itself. And we didn't want to have to redraw the same line work every single time just to see if this shoe idea would look cooler with a different colored outsole or whatever it is, right? So because I realized that I have the pages available to download for free off this website called Flickr. It's a free photo sharing website. There's, I don't know, 2,000 of these or whatever it is. There's plenty of these. The point is that would be the idea. Now, after a few years of making YouTube videos in these coloring pages, I see the subscriber count start to go up. And I noticed that these pages are getting a decent amount of views. It's 15,000 views. Now, it's not a million views, but it's not 0 views either. So I said, okay, maybe it makes sense to have a website by this point, because I have about 20 of these coloring pages as opposed to the beginning when I only had like 1 coloring pages. So it didn't make sense. And despite the fact that this website is, we're going to call it Nothing But Potential, okay?
Yep.
We're going to call this Nothing But Potential. It took me 20 hours to get to this point. Excuse me. I had to figure out all this stuff. How to build a website. What are the different website builders? Which ones are, cost effective for artists? What are the different price ranges between them? What kind of website does an artist need? How to even build a website? I had to figure out all this stuff. I had to metaphorically dig myself out of the hole that I dug myself in, which is a very important trait when it comes to being an entrepreneur. So the point is, I'd have this website, and despite the fact that it looks rough, I would ask myself a very simple question, and that is this. How can I take this idea I have, this idea being free sneaker coloring pages, and make this idea a little bit better? Over the course of making it a little bit better for 5 years, now the website looks like this. Because I can't make it a lot better every day, but it is quite practical to make it 0.2% better every day, because that 0.2% stacks real fast over time. Now, here's the progression of the coloring pages. As you can see, here's over here how it started, and here's how it eventually looks now. I wanted these pages to be, made for footwear designers. I wanted people to appreciate what I was doing with these, and I wanted you to feel like you're working on a piece of art when you print these out, and it's not just some cute little sneaker coloring pages, So 2 years ago, I'd graduate from college, and I get this job immediately working for this company, and most of the work that we did was design these booklets to help sell these high-rise commercial real estate apartments. That's really boring. Yep. I know how boring it was. I worked there for 10 months. If anybody knows how boring of a job that was, it would be me. Now, 8 months into the job, I had another epiphany. And by the way, I don't know what epiphany means, but I know I had one, okay? I realized, like, wait a minute. These books that we're making, they're composed of photos, graphics, and typography, as complicated of an assortment as they need to be for the book. So if I can make these books for my job, I can make these books for myself. Are you serious? Air horn for that. I had everything I needed. I've been creating these sneaker illustrations for years. So check, I have the templates done. I'm a graphic designer by trade, so I can make a nice looking logo and cover for the book. Check on that. And then my last job was me designing these books to help sell these $100 million apartments. Like, if anybody has the opportunity to do this, at the very least, it would be me. And I'm happy I did, because the success of this one book allowed me to leave my job last year during the pandemic to be a full-time sneaker artist. And since then, at the top of this year, I released my 3rd sneaker coloring book, the Hypebeast coloring book. And it's so crazy to say I've created the product that I would have wanted for myself back when I was first falling in love with sneakers in high school. I imagined what this product would have looked like. And I thought it'd been so cool for somebody else to make this one day. I just didn't realize that person would be myself when my skills would actually catch up for me to do so. So that's kind of beautiful, I think. Now, traits to becoming a successful creative entrepreneur. Because while all these things are necessary, you're going to find that a lot of these traits are quite practical to have if this is the endeavor that you want to take. Let's talk about it. Relentless optimism / positive mindset. What are you going to do? Be negative? You're going to think, oh, everything could go wrong? No, because to be fair, he who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right. So if you want to have a negative attitude saying, oh, it's not going to work out, nobody's going to buy this stuff, nobody's going to see this stuff, fine. You're right. You're right. And the reverse is also true. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep trying to get better. I'm going to keep trying to figure things out, and it's eventually going to work out. You're probably right on that end too. So relentless optimism. Self-motivated. If you need somebody to get you motivated every day to do the thing, this is not going to work out for you. You have to have that within yourself. I think Nietzsche said, a strong enough why can withstand any how. What is your why? What is your reason for doing this thing that you say you want to do if you want to be a creative entrepreneur, right? If you want to do this, your why should be strong enough to make sure that you're always motivated to do the thing that you need to do. You gotta be self-disciplined. Now, this is a photo of me. This is a photo of me about 40 pounds ago, last year, 40 pounds ago. And self-discipline isn't just in terms of like your physical body and how you keep yourself, but your physical body is what allows you to even do the rest of the things that you do in life. So for whatever it's worth, take care of your body because it's the only one you're going to get, at least until like another 200 years when we can make fake bodies and stuff. Until then, you only have the one, so take care of it. It's important. Enjoy competition. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in a capitalist society, and a lot of people don't like capitalism. We can talk about that another time. But the fact is, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're competing with other people in your space. Oh, you're going to have a restaurant, right? And you're going to put it in the middle of other restaurants, but your restaurant's not going to be better than the other restaurants. How is your restaurant going to do? Probably not going to do that good. Okay. You have to understand who you're competing against, and you have to have something that people would want to go to. Otherwise, if you're just offering the same thing everybody else is offering, but they're doing it better, why would anybody go to you for whatever your thing is? I'm just curious. Why would they? So gotta be a people person. It's like, okay, you're going to either have customers or clients or some other entity that you're going to be communicating with. You have to like people. And by the way, this is not just a creative entrepreneurship thing. Try going through life not liking people. You're going to have a difficult life. Okay. I'm just saying, like, just facts. You're going to have a very difficult life because life is made of people. Life is about people. Okay. I know we're all on our phones all the time, but we're connected to each other more than ever before. So despite all the little stuff that's happening all over the place, life is about people ultimately. So you got to be a people person. Got to be a problem solver. More or less, you're going to be a firefighter when you're an entrepreneur. You're just putting out fires. The fires of the business, okay? You're just dealing with crazy things all the time. And most of the time, my problems are, and your teachers can relate to this, most of the fires I deal with are not actual fires, but in the form of emails, because 3 hours of emails is worse than any fire. And it's like, you don't understand, like you have 3 hours of emails. If you don't take care of it, it's going to be 6 hours of emails. If you don't deal with that, it's going to be 9 hours of emails. It's going to be way even worse. So the point is, you got to be a problem solver. You got to be enthusiastic enough and optimistic enough to take on these problems because they're going to come with or without your consent. So keep that in mind. Now, self-accountability. Guys, when you're a business owner, the only logical mindset you should have is that everything that happens with the business is your fault. If you're if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, everything's your fault. We're going to do blame somebody else. You run the business. This is your business. If somebody that you hired screwed up, you hired them. That's on you. Yes, they made the error, but you hired them. So ultimately, that's on your responsibility. Now, here's the thing. Oh my God, that sounds terrible. No, I don't want it to be my fault. I get it. Now, to be fair, I don't know why that's such a bad thing. If everything is your fault, then that means you have complete control. So change the things you need to change and improve. Is that not the good news? Is that not why you are here? Excuse me. That's a fantastic piece of news. Okay. So schedule oriented. If you don't have an alarm, if you don't look at your Google Calendar or whatever you have, if you don't have a physical calendar, you're not an entrepreneur. You're waiting for things to happen. You have to be disciplined. You have to be scheduled. You have to live by a schedule. So that way you can actually get all the things that you want done. Financially literate. You got to know about money. Excuse me. Entrepreneurship, running a business, you got to understand money. So when I sell a $20 coloring book, these are all the expenses that actually go into it. So even though I sold a $20 coloring book, I only keep $7.13. And it's actually a little bit less than that, to be honest with you. So you have to understand money. And if you don't, you should be curious enough to understand the money aspect that's relevant to you. Is that not reasonable? I think it's pretty reasonable. I don't know. Can you handle loneliness? Entrepreneurship is very lonely. I work 10 to 14 hours every single day. I am the team. You want to speak to HR? Here, let me get HR real quick. Oh, here's HR. You want to speak with our marketing team? Sure, let me get them real quick. Here's the marketing team, right? Like, I am the business. Eventually, I'm going to be able to hire people, but until then, it's just me. And that's okay. This is what I wanted. This is what I dreamed about for years. I can't complain that I have too much on my plate when I wanted to eat. Ladies and gentlemen. So 10 ways you can monetize your art. Let's talk about that real quick. So you can sell your physical work if you're, a traditional artist making actual physical pieces. You can sell stock products or assets if you create digital work. And that's its own set of stuff, right? There's so much that goes into that. If you have a skill that other people would pay money for, You can do freelance work or commission work. And it starts off so simple. If you're the person who's good at drawing, guess what? Somebody in your school is eventually going to say, hey, can you draw a logo for me? And then that's 30 bucks or whatever right there. That's how it starts. Advertising / brand sponsorships. If you're now an influencer, if you have a little bit of a brand going, a little bit of a community, other brands or companies will give you their stuff or give you their stuff and money to review it once you grow a big enough following. That's how it happens. If you have an expertise in something, you can create a course, a guide, or an ebook, because people will spend money to save themselves time. And if your little ebook will save them 10 hours of work to do all the research, that's probably worth it on their end. Okay. Affiliate marketing, passive income. Guys, if you don't know what affiliate marketing is, Google it, because it's really interesting. Because you ever seen like those examples where people are like, and if you want to buy the book, click the link down below to take you to Amazon. Well, when you buy the book on Amazon, they get a small percentage of the referral from you buying the book. That's an example of affiliate marketing. Really cool. Crowdfunding. You have an idea and it's expensive. Okay. Patreon, Kickstarter, GoFundMe. These are options that you have. Otherwise, you'd have to, hold out a hat and you have a little sign saying, here's my idea, and then hope people drop money in the hat. But this is much more efficient, so that's kind of cool too. Sell your own merch through Redbubble, through Teespring, these other services that they're out there. You can create your own merch with your own brand, your own logo, and you can buy it at cost and then sell it for whatever price you want. So it usually costs like no more than $10 for a shirt for you to have it printed in your hands, 15 with shipping, whatever it is. And then you can sell it for 25 or whatever you want. So that's kind of cool. You can run a website. My website gets hundreds of people on it every single day. It's kind of cool, I think, right? You can write a book. So Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing, when I was talking about earlier, you can print out a book or you can publish a book for less than the cost of Big Mac. Guys, it cost me $2.70 to publish and print one copy of one book and get it in my hands. That's bananas. Air horn for that. Where's the air horn, right? Because to do this 100 years ago, you have to go to ye old publisher in the town square and say, excuse me, sir, I would like to get one copy of this manuscript. And they would say, no, you're going to get 1,000 because we can't do one copy because we can't afford to do one copy. That's expensive. But now we can live in a time where you can get one copy, one book. So if you want to be an author for less than $3 and a lot of time, you can. So that's kind of cool, I think. Now, how much money do I make? The only part of the presentation you guys care. So here's an example of a month's worth of revenue. It's hard to say how much I make in a year because I've barely done this full time for a year. I did this about 7 months last year. So in those 7 months, I made 30 grand. So that's cool. But last year doesn't count for anything because it was 2020 and nobody counts 2020. It was such a weird year. So let's go over the different revenue streams. Google AdSense, they pay me every other month. I didn't get paid in February, I got paid in March. Etsy, if you make something that's creative, whether it be physical or digital, sell it on Etsy. It's an online marketplace. Shopify is my personal online store, shop.kicksart.com, right, for all your sneaker coloring page needs. Amazon affiliate marketing, like I just told you, not 17 bucks. It's not a lot, but where do you think that starts? It starts at 0. It went to 1. It went to 2. Now it's to 17, and eventually 17 is going to be 100. It's you grow from the bottom up. You don't grow from the top down. It's not how it works. Amazon books. I sell my books on Amazon, of course. That's 900 bucks. That pays for the month. You already know. Walmart sales. I also sell the books on Walmart. Sponsorship deals for video sponsorships. Commission work that I do for custom design work that I do, illustration work. Design work that I do for my cousin for his brand. Public speaking, I get paid to do this. So in gross revenue, I got $2,300. Net revenue after expenses and taxes is $1,200. My personal bills and expenses are $800. So 1,200 minus 800 is... That's right, ladies and gentlemen, 400 smackaroonies. You know what I did with those 400 smackaroonies? That's right, I saved that money, right? Here comes the money, here comes the savings, right? It's like, nobody ever talks about saving money, which is so sad because we really need to talk about that more, especially in this country, but fine. For whatever it's worth, that's what it is. Now, let's go back a year. Not literally, nobody ever wants to do that. Financially, let's go back a year real quick. So this is March of 2020, about a year ago. So I only have 2 revenue streams at this point. But here's why this is important. Years 1 through 6 of me building my brand when I started in 2014 is the culmination of these 2 revenue streams. But yet, between year 6 and 7, I went from 2 revenue streams to 10. I'm now a full-time sneaker artist and thriving during the second worst economic period in 100 years. So it's a good thing I didn't quit between years 1 and 6, because I would never be able to see how beautiful year 7 could be. And who knows how beautiful year 8 could be too. So if you want some little tidbit, a little major key, right?
Major key.
Major key is this. If you want to quit, you can. You can quit if you want. Nobody will know the other outcome, and you won't know it either. There's no guarantees in life, except for the fact that if you quit, it will never happen. So it's up to you. It's up to you, okay? Now, being a creative entrepreneur, how do you even start? How do you go about being a creative entrepreneur? Well, in the digital age that we're living in, and this is really the only time you could be a creative entrepreneur, you got to be savvy with the internet. So let's talk about it. We got 3 simple steps. Step 1, find what you love to do or what you know a lot about. Either one will work. If you love something and you know a lot about it, that is perfect. Or at the very least, have one of the two. But if nothing else, find what you love to do, because that way you won't get burned out nearly as fast. Step 2, once you find that thing that you love, practice that for 5 years. Essentially be good at it. Now, you're probably thinking practice. We're talking about practice?
We talking about practice.
We talking about practice.
Not a game. Not a game. Not a game.
We're talking about
practice.
Yes, we are. Get good at something. And by the way, this assumes that you're practicing at least 30 minutes a day for 5 years. Oh, you don't want to do that every day? Fine. Add another 5 years since you want to take times off. But you see, nobody would complain about somebody who played basketball in high school that grew up playing basketball the 10 years beforehand, how they're so good. But that's kind of obvious, right? But you want to be a creative entrepreneur. You want to be a digital athlete. That's essentially what that is. Okay, practice. Practice, ladies and gentlemen, practice. So once you practice enough to have a good enough set of knowledge in that thing, communicate online at scale for 7 years. These are the 4 ways you do it. Audio, video, images, or the written word. Those are the only 4 ways you can communicate online. Unless you have telepathy, in which case, if you do, send me a message because I'm curious to what you got going on, you little superhero. You know, that's rather cool. I would love to learn telepathy. Also, if I can have the ability to never sleep, that'd be a superpower I'd love. So these are the 4 ways. You don't have to do all 4. You probably shouldn't at first. You also shouldn't do the one that isn't good enough for your natural skill set. If you're terrified of speaking in front of a camera, don't do video. Or if you're going to do video, just have the podcast version of it where it's just the audio. Maybe you're not good with video or audio, but you're excellent at making images or writing. Well, the last 2 are there for you. Those are the options. Is this not why you are here? That's what it is. Okay. Good news. Pick one. Because if you can't, then you're not going to be a creative entrepreneur. These are the 4 ways you can be creative. I'm sorry it's not a 5th one, but these 4 are pretty good. So it is what it is. Question is, are you willing to be patient for what you want? Here's some examples. 4 examples right now. You guys might know of MKBHD. I think he's got over 15 million subscribers on YouTube. He's one of the biggest tech reviewers. After his first 100 videos, he only had 78 subscribers. And yet this dude has a multi-million-dollar company where he talks about technology, and all the companies send him their newest products to review for free because his reach and his brand is that big. Mr. Beast. Oh, we all know Mr. Beast, right? Well, after 100 videos, dude had 790 subs. It's a good thing he didn't quit after that, because now he's sitting at over I think 50 million on the main channel, 10 million plus on the secondary channel. It's a good thing he didn't quit either, right? PewDiePie, we all know Pewds, right? 100 videos to only get 2.5 thousand subscribers. And this dude is the single biggest individual YouTuber on the platform. Yes, there's T-Series in India, but that's like a whole media company. This guy pretty much did it mostly by himself. 100 million plus subscribers. That is an insane number. And then we got this guy, right? KicksArt, 9 videos, 1,000 subscribers. Now, what I'm not trying to say that my head is so big that I fit with these other 3. I'm not, even though metaphorically that's what I'm showing here. What I'm trying to say is they didn't quit. And I have no intention of quitting either. Now, my path is going to be very different from theirs because, well, everybody's path is different from everybody else's. It's your path, after all. I have no idea what my potential could be. I have no idea where I could land. And to be honest, a year ago, heck, 5 months ago, I had no idea I'd be doing this right now. So that's why I keep going. So I can continue to see how far this potential bubble could reach, right? How to grow a YouTube channel. Most people want to be a YouTuber, right? A lot of people want to be a YouTuber, and I get it. So let's talk about it. Let's go through some advanced tactics, ladies and gentlemen. Go over these 6 advanced tactics. We got standing out, optimization, content strategy, research, engagement, and organic factors. Let's go through them real quick, right? Standing out. These different factors can help you stand out. Production value, the sound design, your visual style, your editing style, your presentation. So when I just bought this recent mic, it glows, obviously. It's kind of nice. Visually, it adds a nice little element. It's certainly more interesting than just the, regular black, non-glowy microphone that I had before. So it's kind of nice. Optimization, okay? You're talking about target keywords, your click-through rates, which is the most important individual metric that you want to look at YouTube. Ranking for authority. If people search for the name of your video title, does your video actually pop up? Watch time duration, which is one of the most important things YouTube cares about. If you have a 10-minute video and somebody only watches 5 seconds of it, yeah, you might have gotten a view, but they only watched 5 seconds of your video. They got out immediately as they came in. All right, multiple viewings. Do you have videos people would want to watch multiples of, or they only want to watch one video from your channel, right? Content strategy, okay? Your niche, your category. You got to be consistent with your content. Does your content have pattern recognition? Can they say, oh, this person made this type of video and it makes sense that they also make these types of videos? Your format, your programming, how you're actually setting up your content. Different types of content in terms of hub, help, and hero. Hub is for like your community. Help is more naturally searchable. And then hero is like the type of video they put a lot of production into to hopefully get viral status, which almost never happens, but the effort can still be seen nonetheless, okay? Research. Research. Topics and content, the titles and thumbnails. You got to research all these things to optimize it, right? Keyword clusters. You want to make sure you're using the right keywords so people can actually search for it. You got to research your competitors because you're now in business, all right? Competition, capitalism, all these things. You got to see what other people are doing. If other people are doing what you're doing and they're doing it better, why would anybody want to watch your stuff? Hence all these other things we went over. You got all these differentiators, okay? Engagement. It's a lot, isn't it? But this was about being a successful YouTuber and having a successful channel. You do not have to do all these things in the very beginning. But to be successful, you will ultimately account for all these variables, at least when it comes to being a YouTuber, okay? So don't worry about all this stuff. But if you took good notes, now you have the game in your hands, right? I just gave you the game, kind of. These are all the things you have to consider. All the professional YouTubers consider all these things. And it seems like a lot at first, but so does driving, and you'll eventually figure that out real soon. So it is what it is. Organic factors. Guys, I'm telling you, these all are things that play into it when we're talking about a successful YouTuber. And again, we saw the examples, all right? Mr. Beast, 100 videos to get under 800 subs. You think he had all these things figured out after 100 videos? No. He probably had a few of these things figured out. And even if he did, it still took time. So, it is what it is. Do you want to, take time to do it or not? Now, the importance of branding. This is one nice little key to this, because we're talking about being a creative entrepreneur. Creative being a very key point to this. Okay. So you want to be something that is an artist, but is also an entrepreneur. So let's talk about branding. A lot of people get this mixed up. This is the best definition I think there is for branding. A brand is a customer's gut feeling about a product, service, or company. A customer's gut feeling. So it's not what you say, right? Let's talk about it. Is this a brand, ladies and gentlemen? What do you guys think? Is this a brand? Yes, no? No. This is not a brand. This is a logo. This is Nike's logo, okay? Let's talk about visual branding elements real quick, because a brand is comprised of a lot of these different things that are taken intentionally. So you have your logo, okay? On the left is the old logo I had for KicksArt, and the right is the new one that I had. You got your brand colors. You're going to want some brand colors. You're going to want some consistency, so that way people know what to expect. If you tuned into Animal Planet and in the middle of the show you're watching, a race car, whatever thing starts popping out, and then you have like the Food Network channel starts coming in there. Now Animal Planet's starting to get all over the place, no longer Animal Planet. You want to have consistency, okay? So brand colors. Fonts. Okay, if you're a bakery, don't have a heavy metal font unless your brand name is Heavy Metal Bakery. Like, be intentional, okay? Like, just be intentional. Graphic elements. Again, these are all things that go into a visual brand. All right, so you see I have like the bars and the lines, and I have these little icons. I do the thing where I have the red thing underneath the text and stuff. I do all that stuff. Imagery. What kind of photos are you using? Again, Sally's Bakery is probably not going to have images of, I don't know, skyscrapers, because I wouldn't really make too, maybe images of bread or, freshly baked goods or something. Okay. Imagery matters too. And there's more to it, but those are the general components. A brand isn't what you say it is. If you're the business owner, a brand is what they say it is, the customers. Okay. A brand is your reputation, which we all have. So let's kind of put this together in a way that I find is interesting. A simple example. If the circus comes into town, now we're going back to ye old days of 120 years ago, whatever it is, right? If the circus comes into town and you paint a sign saying the circus is coming into this town on Saturday, that's an advertising, okay? That's advertisement. You paint a sign. If you put the sign on the back of the elephant and then you walk the elephant into town, that's considered promotion. If the elephant walks to the mayor's flower bed and the local newspaper writes a story about it, that's publicity. And if you get the mayor to laugh about it, that's public relations, PR, people, PR. And if the town citizens go to the circus and you show them the entertainment booths, and then you explain how much fun they'll be spending at them or spending their money at the booths and answering the questions. And ultimately they spend a lot at the circus. That is sales, working one-to-one with the customer. And then if you plan the whole thing, that's considered marketing. And here's where branding comes into play, ladies and gentlemen. Marketing gets them to come the one time, branding gets them to come back. You might market for a video saying, okay, I'm gonna post this to my social media page, or I'm gonna put ad revenue into this so that way people can see it. If they come back, it's because you branded properly. We're talking about being creative entrepreneurs, so consider all these things, okay? Marketing is what you say, branding is what they think. Nike is the culmination of what we think about them. When we think about Nike, we don't think about food. Okay, you can see how these things come together. And then last question. What started my entire sneaker art career? What started everything? This. It's because one day in 9th grade, metaphorically, I was in your seats and I drew this sneaker. And this sneaker accidentally did all of this. So I tell students, please don't be afraid to try something new, because I drew a sneaker one day in 9th grade. And since then, that sneaker's done all this for me. And now I'm speaking to all of you. Thank you all so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Where's my clapping sound effect? Yeah.
Bruh.
Stop the share. All right.
Whoa, that was awesome. That was
Not bad, right?
inspiring. Not bad at all. What a story. That's amazing. Thank you so much for spending this time with us and sharing your.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
And then one quick thing I'll say, because we don't really have too much time at all. Listen, guys, I'm not this like super celebrity you can never get in contact with. Like, I'm at KicksArt everywhere on social media. If you have a question about anything I went over, you ask me, okay? You have access to the 2 best resources ever, Google and me. No, just fine. You have access to Google, and I'm here too. I'm happy to help you guys. There's nothing that I've talked about today I won't share with you. So no excuses. I don't want to hear it, okay?
Thank you for the inspiration.
All right.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to teach.
I
Take it easy, everybody. Bye.
Say thanks, guys.